I even met somebody that said sleep was their hobby. And I thought, why is that your hobby? And this person was like, because I'm not able to get it that often. Hi, welcome back to the channel. I'm Michelle. If you are new, welcome. I officially have a new hobby. I have some wonderful friends that are mothers and professionals, and we all agree that we love our families and we work hard for them every day. But we know that we need time for ourselves, and our kids need to see us taking time for ourselves. So I know there have been times that my girlfriends and I have just sat and had bottles and bottles of wine and laugh, and depending on whose house where we're having wine, sometimes the kids are like, y'all are still in here drinking? We're like, yes, we are. Grown folks only. You're not 21. Everybody needs a hobby. We all need a hobby, and that's a good thing. I sound like Martha Stewart. Okay. A parent, you know that your kid's schedule is your first priority. What they need, and it seems like the younger your kids are, the more they need you, right? So I found that sometimes I just needed some mother time. I just needed some girlfriend time. I would text my girlfriends and I'm like, okay, y'all, I need some girl time. So my friends would always respond back, and I'd see wine glasses or wine emojis, and they'd say, okay, what are we drinking? I'll bring the Moscato, I'll bring the Riesling, I'll bring the whatever. And I found that with my girlfriends, I like drinking white wines. So sweeter wines like the Moscatos, the Rieslings. With my husband, I like drinking red wines. I wasn't a fan of red wines, but my husband really opened up my palate to that. Pinot Noir, Malbec, Riesling, Moscato. I think there were 4 things that I could say that were benefits that came out of my hobby of wine tasting. And the first one is that I learned new things. I learned that I like Malbec wine. It's a richer blend of red wine. And I'm by no means a wine expert, but I know what I like. So wine tastings really helped with growing my knowledge about wines and my interest in wines. So I realized if I hadn't had time with my hobby for too long, I would sort of miss it. So that's a good thing. But that also tells me that, okay, I'm getting better about realizing when I need that downtime. My hobby encouraged me to take a vacation. So my husband and I took our 20th wedding anniversary and we went to California. We stayed in San Francisco. We were there for a week. My husband had been on trips to wine country before. So like I said, he owned a restaurant and wine bar. So he would take trips with the sommelier he had at the restaurant, and they would go and taste different wines and just make connections with the winemakers out in California. So he suggested that we go out to wine country, and I thought, okay, I've never been, that's good, let's do it. So I learned a lot about how to plan a trip to wine country, and the wineries that we visited were really interesting. We selected 3 wineries to visit, and y'all, you must do this, especially if you want to drink and enjoy, because you got to be safe while you're out there. We secured a car with a wonderful company and a driver to take us from San Francisco. So they picked us up from our hotel. And y'all, this company was wonderful. Okay, I'll put their information below, but this company was wonderful. We had champagne in the car so as we're driving there, so it's about a 45-minute drive to the first winery. We had champagne on ice, champagne flutes in the car. So my husband and I are toasting in the car while we have this driver, and this guy was great. He and my husband, they talked about everything. And our driver, he happened to live in Napa. And he's like, yeah, I took this gig so I could drive people back and forth through wine country. And my wife and I, we really enjoy going to wine country, living in wine country. And he and his wife were retired. So it was a great trip, but he was able to take us to all the different vineyards, and we were able to taste the wine at the wineries. We were able to drink the wine. And I know I fell asleep a couple times because I was so relaxed, y'all. It was wonderful. 3 words, wonderful, okay? It was awesome. So we went to 3 different, the last one was Kokomo Winery. And this winery is named after the city of Kokomo, Indiana, where the owner is from, Eric Miller. Hey, Eric. So he and my husband are friends, and he got a chance to finally go to his winery. My husband got a chance to go there. So, I mean, it's a beautiful place. It was a beautiful sunny day. We had a fabulous time. We had lunch in wine country. I felt like royalty from start to finish that whole day. And all because my hobby of wine tasting took me from $5 wine tastings on Wednesday to socializing with my friends to keeping up on my self-care all the way to California for a wine tasting trip. I highly recommend it. I will definitely be doing that again. If you're a subscriber to the channel, then you probably saw the video. If you haven't, check out the video where I talk about vacations, because I do talk about budgets. Because our time in San Francisco, we stayed at the Fairmont Hotel in San Francisco. Fabulous, fabulous, fabulous hotel. We did a wine tasting in the hotel, okay? So it was just great. The dining, top notch. Oh my goodness. You are gonna spend a pretty penny there, but it is worth every penny. And that's another thing. I created wonderful memories from taking that vacation with my husband. 20 wonderful years. We have 3 beautiful children. I have a beautiful grandson. I am lucky. I am blessed. I am blessed, 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 and highly favored. I wouldn't have had the opportunity to recognize that had I not taken a vacation. And it is because my hobby helped me to remember that I need to take that time for myself. I'm so glad that I had a chance to get away with my partner, and we had a great time. We laughed, we slept in, people cooked for us. I didn't wash a dish for a whole week. Y'all, that's a big thing for me. That's a big deal for me. I didn't cook anything for a week. It was wonderful. It's wonderful to recharge and rejuvenate. We checked in with our kids. Everybody was good. Man. If you do not have a hobby, I impress upon you to get a hobby. If you like playing Uno, okay? Uno. Do that. Find some way to incorporate that. If you like playing bingo, if you like pulling tip books, okay, I'm telling myself. But anyway, if you like whatever it is that you like to do that does not hurt you or anybody else, then do that. I have a hobby that took me all the way to California. And Kokomo Winery is one of the wineries that I visited in California with my husband. We celebrated our 20th wedding anniversary. I'm very proud of that. And with our trip, I found that the things that I learned at the wine tastings earlier in the year were things that I was able to comprehend, and I was able to ask the winemakers questions about things. So when they talked about how long the wine was bottled and what their desire for that particular wine was, I understood more of that. And so I found that it was some pride in being educated about wines. So I knew enough to learn more, and I like that. I like to think of myself as a lifelong learner. So I have to say that is one benefit that came from having a hobby. I also love to do puzzles. Puzzles are great because I can take well, depending on which kind I have some 500-piece puzzles that I have set up on a tray table that I can put somewhere and come back to it whenever I have the time. But when I worked in direct care, I had these pocket-sized puzzles. Y'all, these are great. These were great. Sometimes when I worked in direct care, I would have to go to a hospital or a clinic with a client and wait for them to get blood drawn and some tests done. And these pocket puzzles were great to have because they're just 54 pieces. and I could easily set that up on a notebook or a folder and just take the time and put together these beautiful little prints. On Instagram, there's some celebrities that like to do puzzles, and they show how, you know, hey, during the pandemic, I had a 1,000-piece puzzle that I put together. My best friend Charlize and I, we bonded over that. Bonded over doing puzzles in grad school. So at the University of Georgia, it might be 8 or 9 o'clock at night. We kind of sit around and say, yeah, we got a lot to do, you know, as far as classroom work and all that. And then I might say, hey, I got a new puzzle. And she's like, well, let me see it. So then next thing you know, we've set that up and 3 or 4 hours has gone by. And we've talked just a little bit, but at some point you just get engrossed in the puzzle, and then time just melts away. And I still look back on doing puzzles and I think of that time with my best friend Charlize, and I'm like, man, that was so much fun. And it was so relaxing. And anybody that's been in college, especially grad school, you know that it can be stressful and sometimes frustrating, and it is wonderful to have an opportunity to decompress and do something else so that your mind can just come out of that work mode. So puzzles were great for me. So that was a good hobby that I had in college, and I still carry to this day. Hobbies are so important for our self-care. You need time to decompress. Coming away from stressful situations are good for your body. They're good for your energy. These are my 3 tips to find the perfect hobby. First, decide between a social or solo activity. Decide if you want a hobby for personal development or just for fun. Third, will your hobby need limited time or unlimited time? Any activity that you choose, whether it's social or on your own, just be consistent. And I know as a caregiver, just as a parent, you got to buy shoes and clothes and food for your kids, keep a roof over their head. And sometimes we get so bogged down with all the stuff that we have to, our needs. Sometimes we forget about our wants. And I want to live a happy, well-rounded life. And to do that, I had to remember to take care of myself. And I have to say, one thing that I did not do with any kind of regularity, that I did not really push for myself and my family, was taking vacations. But I know the benefit of that. I am 51 years old. Yes, I said 51 years old. And I need to take a vacation at least twice a year. So my husband and I took our vacation. I also want to take a vacation with our kids, and then maybe just a vacation on my own. So that's technically 3 vacations, but still, that is time well spent because it's time to rejuvenate. Thanks for watching. Until the next time, take care of you.